Hello, good morning all. Today in this video we are going to discuss regarding how to create a sequence in Odoo 16 and how to define search view in Odoo and how to inherit the create method in Odoo. So we will be covering these three topics inside the video, and try to watch the video fully, and please like and comment the video after watching the whole section. So let's start with how to inherit the create method in Odoo 16. So currently in the screen you are seeing Odoo 16 community edition, and you can follow the same method in Odoo 16 enterprise as well. So if I go to the hospital menu, here we have the operations and we have patients. So currently if we need to create a new patient in the database, I can come to this menu, simply click on create button, and we will have the form view, and normally we will enter the data here, and on clicking the save button the data is recorded in the database. So currently we are not writing any of the function to save the data in the database. Actually, for each model, that is if we create a model, Odoo is automatically handling by its create method. That is, for each model there will be a create method which will be responsible to create a record in the database, and there might be some cases where we have to inherit those create method for our functionalities. So let's see how we can inherit the create method in Odoo 16. So what I'll do is that if I go to the PyCharm, here inside the dev folder we have the OM hospital module, and in the models folder here we have defined our function. That is, here we have defined our model, that is hospital.patient. So we need to see, or we have to inherit the create method of this model. So for that what you have to do is that you have to define like this: diff create self, then vals list, for and or you can return super of create vals list. So simply this is how we can inherit the create method of Odoo, that is diff create. So this is the syntax of that function, that is diff create self, then it will take a parameter vals list, and return, we are overriding, sorry, we are inheriting. That means we have to execute our function as well as the default create method of that model. So we will use the super method. Super, the syntax is like this: super, then here our class name. So here a class name is hospital patient. So we have given our class name, comma, self dot function name itself, then you have to pass the parameters other than self. So this is simply how we can inherit a create method. So if I search inside the Odoo source code for diff create, we will get a different sample. We have a decorator at API model create multi, so I'll use this decorator also. So you have to add this decorator also. At API we have imported API dot model underscore create multi. So simply we have inherited this function. Now let's see what happens when we create a new record. So I have done this. Now I'll stop the execution of the code and I'll enable the debugger. So I have enabled the PyCharm debugger, and I'll add a breakpoint inside this function, and let me go to the UI and create a new patient. I'll name it as Odoo 16. I'll put the age as 50 and I'll choose gender as male. So all the values has been entered. Now on clicking the save button, you can see the code execution reaches over here. That is, on clicking the save button, the code execution reaches here. And if you check the vals list, so here we have vals list. So if I evaluate this expression, you can see name is coming as Odoo 16, which we have entered in the form, and his child is not selected, thus it is coming as false. Age is 50, which we have entered, and gender, selected gender is coming as male. So these selected values are coming inside this variable. Now from this method we will pass all the selected values to default create method. So from here what we can do, here currently we have vals list. From here we can modify any value and we can pass it to the create method. For example, currently if you check, it is coming vowels list is a list of dictionary. So to get one by one for vowels in vowels list, suppose vowels of, if I need to modify what, suppose if I need to modify gender and put all as female, gender equal to female, I can modify it from here. So I have modified my code like this, and let me complete this execution. So this record is created. Now I'll restart the debugger. So what I have done is, from here, that is from here, before calling original Odoo create method, I am modifying the vowels and putting the gender, whatever user select in the form, it will be replaced by here. That is, always the gender will be female now. So let's see that. So I'm going to create a new record, and I'll put the name as test male. I'll put the age as 35, and gender I'll choose male. See, I have choose male, but on clicking the save, you can see it is coming as female, because from here I have modified the selected value to female and passed to create method. So this is how we can inherit the create method and make our own changes to the data. So that's all about how to inherit the create method in Odoo. Now let's move to the next topic, that is how to create a sequence in Odoo. So the sequence that I'm meaning is, suppose if you go to the sales application, here you will see for each record there is a unique value. Like if I remove this default filter, you can see 16, 14, 13, like this, you can see a sequential value is getting generated. So we are trying to create such a sequential value for the patients, say like patient reference or patient ID. So our intention is to create a new field inside the patient model, and on creating the record, the system will has to generate an auto sequence for the patient. So let's see how we can achieve that. So first of all, it's done in Odoo using ir.sequence model. So if I go to settings, then technical, and if you scroll down, you have a menu called sequence and identifiers, and under that you can see you have got sequences. So if you open that, this is the model ir.sequence. So first of all, what we have to do is that we have to create a record inside the database in this table, and using this sequence, by inheriting the create method, we will assign the sequence for the record. So first of all, we will start by creating a sequence in the database. So let's create a sequence in the database. So here we have our module. So what I'll do is that I'll stop the debugger also, and I'll put to the normal mode. So what you have to do is that first of all, you have to create a new directory called data. So I'll right click and I'll create a new folder called data, and inside that I'll create a new file called sequence.xml. So that's done. I have created a folder data, and inside that I have added sequence.xml. Now we have to import that inside the manifest file. So all the XML file has to be imported inside the manifest file, and the order to import the data file is after security and before the views. So here I'll add data/sequence.xml file, and I'll put a comma. So we have imported it in the manifest. Now what we have to do, we have to define the function. So from this file, I'll copy the default syntax of Odoo, and I'll close the Odoo tag. Now what we have to do, inside this I will add one more tag, data. I'll come to it later. Now I'll put data, and inside this we have to create a record. So record ID, and model is ir.sequence. I have to create a record inside this table, ir.sequence table, and you have to give a name. I'll put the name as sequence hospital patient. So simply I have done like this. So this is the syntax of creating a record. We are going to create a record inside this table ir.sequence, and what all values we have to fill, we have to give a name. So field name equal to name, and value I'll give as hospital patient sequence. Hospital patient sequence. To this value I'll put hospital patient sequence. Then we have to fill the code. So this is code field, so I'll duplicate code. I'll give the code as hospital dot patient. Hospital dot patient. Then we have to set prefix. So I'll add next prefix, and I'll put the prefix as HP. And one more thing we have to add is padding. So next field is padding, and I'll give the padding as 5. So I have written this 6 lines of code, which consists of one is name. Instead of hospital patient sequence, I simply give patient sequence. So name, sequence code is set, prefix is set, sequence size is set. Now let's restart and see what happens. So on restarting, you can see as I have passed these parameters, it will automatically install the module. You can see the newly added file has been loaded, and if I come back to the tree view, you can see the new record has been added into the database. Hospital.patient, sequence code, name is patient sequence, prefix HP, which we have given here, and the padding sequence size is 5. So we have successfully added a sequence inside the database. So that's done. Now if you think why we have added this data tag, currently you can see we have generated a sequence, and the advantage of creating the ir.sequence is the end user, which is not a developer, can come here later using this sequence. If the customer generated a lot of things and he think like the developer give the prefix as HP, and if the end user think he need to change it to PP instead of HP, PP, and he need to start from 100, next number 100, he can modify here. Like he can come here and modify it from the user interface. But if I duplicate this tab, and if you upgrade the hospital module, if I remove the apps filter, and if you upgrade the module, these changes we have made from the UI will be overwritten from the module again. So if I refresh, it was PP, which end user changed from HP to PP, and if I refresh, you can see it's coming back to HP itself. So we need to prevent this because it has been changed by end user and it should not be overwritten from the code. So to the data tag, we will add no update equal to 1. So once we add this no update equal to 1, all the records inside that tag will be with no update true is set. That means if user made any change, it will not be overwritten from the code again. So currently if you check this debugger button and if you click on view metadata, no update is false. This is coming as no update equal to false. So I'll delete this record, and if I upgrade the module again, hospital, if I upgrade the module again, if you upgrade the module again, and if I refresh here, hospital patient, debugger button, view metadata, you can see now no update is coming as true. So if end user changed the prefix to PPP, saved, and if you upgrade the module again, that PPP will not be overwritten. It will not be overwritten. So I have upgraded, and if you refresh, still it will be PPP. So that's the advantage of adding no update 1 attribute in Odoo. So whenever you add sequence, make sure that you added inside the no update attribute. And now I'll change it back to HP itself. So I guess you got the idea of no update attribute in Odoo. So we have successfully created the patient. Now what we have to do, we have to add a new field inside the patient model to hold the sequential value. So for that, I'll add a new field inside the hospital.patient model. So here we have the hospital.patient, and here I'll add a new field called ref fields dot char. I'll add a character field, and I'll give the string as reference, and I'll give a default value for this field also. So let me take a sample. If you take a sample from fields.char, maybe I can get a sample from sales module. Here if you check, yeah, you can see like this, you can give a default value for the field. So this is how you can set a default value for a field. So I have added a new field ref with string as reference, and I'm passing a default value as new. So that's done. So we have successfully added the field at Python level. Now what we have to do, we have to add this field to the corresponding form view. So if I go to the views folder, here we have the patient.xml file where we have defined the patient form view. So after the sheet tag, I will add div class OE_title, and inside that I'll use h1 tag, and I'll add the field name ref, which is the newly added field, and I'll give read only equal to true. So in order to make a field read only in the view, you can add read only one attribute. Just once you specify read only equal to 1, the field will be read only always, and this div class OE title is to come the field as a title, and h1 tag will bring that font size a little more bigger. So let's restart and see what happens. So you can see the module is getting upgraded, and if I go back to the patient's form view, if I refresh, you can see a new field has been appearing at the top of the form, and its default value is new. And if you check for existing record, it's new because we haven't generated. So we have successfully added that field. Similarly, I will add the field to the form view, tree view also. So here I will add the field to the tree view also. Now what we have to do, we have to generate the sequence to this field. So to that, what I'll do is that earlier we have inherited the create method. So here what I'll do, for vals in vals list, vals of ref. So to this field, ref field, we have to generate the sequential value. So to get the sequential value, self.env ir.sequence next by code, and I'll give hospital.patient. I'll give like this. So what I'm doing here is that to ref field, I am getting sequential value from the sequence. So this line of code is what it will do is that first I'm initializing an environment, self.env. This is ORM method, self.env. Then you can specify any model in the database. So I already have told the model of sequence is ir.sequence. So I have initialized its environment, self.env ir.sequence. Then inside ir.sequence model, we have a function called next by code. So if you check inside the Odoo source code, diff, that's how a function is defined, diff next by code, you can see there is a function which is defined inside which model, ir.sequence model. So I'm calling the next by code function inside this model, and I'm passing a code, which is the code we have entered for this sequence. So here you can see I have passed sequence as hospital patient. So I'm passing this code. Suppose if your code is different one, copy the code and put it here. So it will do one thing. So this function next by code will return the next code of that sequence. So let's see what happens if I create a new record now. So I'll go to the UI and I'll try to create a new patient. Test odoomates age 28, and gender I'll put as male. And if I click on save button, you can see the sequential value has been generated to 𝐻𝐵𝐸𝐸1. And if I create a new record again, name test 26 and gender male, and if I click on save, you can see 𝐻𝐵002. Similarly, if you create a new record, put like this 22, and if I click on save, 𝐻𝐵003, that is sequential value is getting generated from this sequence. And if you refresh here, you can see this value is getting increased. So this sequence says the next number is 4, and if I create new record, test PPP, and if I put the age as 5, click on save, 𝐻𝐵004. Similarly, it will get updated here. So if I refresh, it will be 5. So if I need to start from, instead of 5, I need to change the sequence to 100, I can modify here. Or instead of 100, if I need to start from 1, 2, 3, just modify here. And if you create a new record, create test 2, 3, age has to be recorded, I'll put 5, and if I click on save, you can see 𝐻𝐵00124 is coming. And if you need to modify the prefix, you can do from here. I'll put PP, create a new record, create CCC, age 3, you can see it has been changed. So this is how a sequential value is generated in Odoo using ir.sequence, and by inheriting the create method, we will set the sequential value for record in Odoo. So if you switch to the list view, you can see all those values. So I think I have to refresh. You can see the values will be here. So this is how the sequential value is generated in Odoo. So I hope this is clear for you. If you have any doubts, directly comment under the video, so I'll try to reply you as soon as possible. So that topic is covered. Now the next topic is how to define the search view in Odoo. So we already have learned how to define the tree view and the form view. So this is the tree view that we have defined, and this is the form view. So where is the search view? So the view that you are seeing over here is the search view of Odoo, which enable us to search. Suppose if I need to get the patient with Odoo 16 as name, I can come here and search, click on enter. It will show us the filtered result. So currently you can see we are able to search by name, only by name, which is a limited functionality. What if I need to search by 𝐻𝐵001? Maybe the patient comes with ID card and he will show his ID, and I have to search it by ID. Currently we don't have that functionality here, but you can do like this, filter and search more. You have to do like that, which is a lengthy process. Like it can be only done for filtering, but we have to define the search view. So if you click on this debugger button, you have edit search view, and it will be empty currently because we haven't defined a search view for this model. So let's see how we can define a search view for this model and to make reference, like, and why we are adding search view. We will make reference field, name field, age field, gender field all searchable, and we will add couple of default filters here, and here we will add couple of default group by option. So let's see how we can achieve that. So what I'll do is that it has to be done inside the view level. So I'll do it inside patient.xml file. So I'll copy the tree view and I'll put it over here. Then what we will do, I'll change, instead of tree, it's search view. I'll give the ID as view hospital patient search, and here also I'll change the name to search. Then what we have to do, instead of tree tag, that's how Odoo identify which type of view it is. So here we are going to define the search view. So I have modified the view as search, and inside that you can specify which all fields you should be allowed to search with. So here I'll add reference, name, age and gender. So simply we have defined the search view. That's done, and the module has been upgraded. And if you refresh, and if you check on edit search view, you will see the newly added view is appearing inside edit search view. So currently, as we have only, like what I can say, currently we have only single search view for this model. So if you have multiple search view for this model, you can specify which search view ID, and let me search inside the XML. Yep. So by default, you can see once we define it automatically taken. So in case if you have multiple search views, this is not mandatory if you have single search view. So in case if you have multiple search view for the same model, and if you need to take a specific one, you can give it like this, like along with the action. For this action, I'm saying I have to use this search view only. So once you didn't specify, it will take one of the search view of that model. So if you need to get particular search view, you can specify it along with the action, that is omhospital.view hospital patient search. So we have successfully added that. Now if you search with HP, you can see search reference, search name. Initially we were having only search name, so 𝐻P0001, and if I search inside reference, I can get the filtered record. And suppose if I need to search with name, I can move the cursor down, search name, like this I can search. And also if you enter some integer value, you can see search age. So this is how we can add a search view in Odoo. But there is one thing, like currently we have search reference and name as two separate. We have to switch between these, but it's better to have both search inside single one. Give a name like search name, and it has to search inside name field as well as the reference field. So let's see how we can make that. So I'll simply remove. I don't need to make search reference separately. So once I search with name, I have to search in two fields. So you can add filter domain, define a list, then inside that I will write like this: name, I like self, then I have to search inside a reference, I like self. So here I have added one more condition called filter domain, and inside that list of tuples I'm putting an OR operator. So I'm saying the entered value has to be searched in name field as well as the reference field. So whenever we search for the name, it will search to find a matching from the reference field as well as the name field. So let's upgrade and see what happens now. So the module has been upgraded. Just trigger the refresh, and if I search for HP0001, you can see search name, nothing is returning. So let me copy it again. You can see it's returning HP002, returning the value. Same I can search with name also, test. Also right now using single name, I can search in reference and name. So that's the use of filter domain. So that's done. Now let's see how we can add some default filters, like filter male patients or filter female patients or filter childs. So let's see how we can do that. So to do that, let me get a sample from Odoo source code. A sample, let me take. Yeah, I'll copy this. That is, you can add filter, give a name for the filter, filter male. I'll give the name as filter male. Then you have to put a string, which you will be seeing here. So I'll give the string as male, and what domain, that is what filtration it has to do when selecting this domain, gender equal to male. That is, I'm saying on selecting this filter, I need to do a filter on the field gender equal to male. So once we select this filter, we need to show only patient with gender male. Similarly, I will add filter female. I'll change the label to female, and gender equal to female, gender equal to female. And similarly you can give others also, filter others, and this key is others, gender equal to others. So let's see what happens if I restart now. So you can see, as I have given these parameters, the module will be automatically upgraded. And if I refresh, now you will have 3 default filters. So on clicking male patients are filtered. We have 4 male patients, and if you need to get females, there are only 1 female patient and there is no others. So let me assign 1 patient as other. I'll put others, and if I click on save, and if you filter others, you will get 1 record. So this is how you can add filters in Odoo. And currently you can see, when I'm selecting multiple filters, all are coming in operators like others or female or male. Assume a case where you need to get it as AND operator. How you can achieve that? So in order to add AND operator, I'll show you. So I'll add one more filter called to filter children's. I'll name it as filter childs. I'll give the string as childs. And how we will distinguish children? Using this field, is child. So is child true, has to be the domain, is child has to be true. So I have added one more filter, and I am restarting, which will upgrade my module. And if I refresh here, you can see the new filter has been added like this. So as we have completed with the sequence, let me switch back to hospital, and this is this tab. So currently you can see all are coming with operator, with OR operator. I need to get or make child as AND operator. What you can do is that simply add a separator here, separator, put a separator before the children's filter, and if you refresh, you will see the difference. So the module has been upgraded, and I'll keep the screen here. And if I refresh over here, you will see a separation is added between you can see a line coming here, that is, this is one section and this is another section. So if I select all these section, it's OR, and if I select child, it's coming separately. This is AND operator. So if I need to get male children's, select male and childs. So this is, you can see, this is a child and male. If you need to get female childs, you can see there is no female childs. So let's add a female child. This doesn't have, I'll make it as female, and this is child. So we have added one female child, and if I filter female child, you can get the value. So this is how we can add AND operator, by adding a separator. So I hope you get the working of filter. Now let's add a default, some group by options inside this one. So let me get a sample for that. I'll copy this and I'll put it over here. So what group by options will be adding? Suppose if I need to get group by gender like this, we will add such a default option. So let me remove this. I'll give the string as gender, name as group by gender, give a name for this filter, group by gender. We don't need any domain for now. Then context, group by, you have to specify on which field you have to do grouping on. So currently I need to do grouping based on gender field, so I have given like this. So group expand 0 string group by, and you have to give like this. Now let's restart the service and see what happens. So you can see the module has been upgraded, and if I come here and refresh, you can see the gender has been added inside the group by. So if I click on group by option, you can see there is 2 female 4 male, 1 others, and 7 none, for which we haven't assigned the gender. So this is how we can add a search view in Odoo. So I hope you understood this topic. So what all things we have covered is, we have learned how to inherit create method, how to define a sequence, how to deal with no update attribute, and how to define search view and add filters, group by, etc. So if you have any queries related to this video, feel free to directly comment under the video and we will try to reply you as soon as possible. And if you feel the videos are good, please try to share this in your social medias and among your Odoo friends. So that's it, and please don't forget to like, comment and share. So that's it for the day. Have a nice day. Thank you all.